By no means are these my design. I just watched some guy make them on the internet, kind of like you're watching me. If you are watching me, you'd be watching me to hear me say this, so you are watching me. I use these number 6 City horseshoe nails. Two of them. Horseshoe nails, get that so you can see it maybe. Horseshoe nails have one side that is flat. I put the flat side away from the bend so that the flat side will be on the inside of the heart. Tighten that down real good and bend it down almost flat. You want, if anything, too far here is better than not far enough, and I'll explain that a little bit better here in a second. So once again, flat side on the inside, away from the bend, and bend it down almost flat. Now we need something round to bend that around, and around, and around, and around, and that is 1/2 inch. And with the bend up, put that point of that right so that you're bending the point, and take it around your 1/2 inch round, and then bring it around this way, shove it again, bring it this way, and shove it again. And I have found that the amount of bending it takes is about as far as I can go with my hand. So that gets you set those down. That gets you to that point right there. Now we need to make another one of those. Grab a hold of the point. And there we have another one of those. Now here is where I'm going to explain that bending it too far. I sit those together, that flat point to flat, or flat side to flat side, and those, the heart is not together at the top, which is not a big deal. After we get done soldering that, I'm going to squeeze that together. On the other hand, if you don't go far enough and they're like that, you have to bend that with the curve in it, which can be done. What I'll do is if I don't bend it far enough, which I don't a lot because it just seems like you're bending it too far, but you can put it back in there and use the rod that you're using to bend it around, and then hit the rod right there close to the heart, tap on it, take them both out to where they're equal, and you can do it that way. It's just a lot easier if you get enough bend in there to begin with. Now, we're going to need that vise just like that. I'm going to use this same pair of pliers. Get you over here in the light so that maybe you can see what I'm doing. Yeah, where you at? Where you at? There you are. Now you want to get those lined up. You're just a little bit too close, aren't you? There we go. Get those lined up as good as you can and grab onto them with your channel lock, your pliers, whatever pliers you're using. This is just the best pair that I have to do this with. Fiddle with them until you get them perfectly lined up, or as perfect as you can get them. Let's see if I can, there we go. Now see, that's off just a little bit. So I need to slide that there. That's pretty good. Right there. Now it's back to the vise. And while I've got you right there, I still got this heart in these pliers. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set those pliers in that vise, squeeze them together real good, and then clamp them in that vise. Now I'm going to take my butane torch, my Burns-O-Matic butane torch, zoom you back out here so you can see just exactly what I'm talking about. All lit up there. I've got two of these. They're both, one of them's just as capable as the other one. One of them's a pen style. And I'm going to put on some flux. This is regular paste flux. That's what I'm using. And I've got a horseshoe nail stuck into it for an applicator. So let's put some heat. And getting this flux in the joint is the important part, because that's what's going to draw that solder down inside there. And that's too much flux. Nobody ever said. Well, maybe somebody said it, but I didn't say it. Now we'll get that good and hot. Dig out my solder. And I'm using just regular old lead-free solder. Should be rosin core. If it has any, no, it's not, it's coreless. Let's get that good and hot. And it's nice and cold out here today, so it's taking a little bit longer. If I'm in your way now and you can't see, I'm sorry. I don't claim to be the best at soldering, but I'm pretty sure that there's solder down in that joint. Plus, there's a little bit. I'm going to drag off the excess solder here using my flux applicator. Turn off my torch, put my flux applicator back down in the flux, put the cap on it. Now, one important part is you want to keep that in those pliers until it cools. Now, I need to do a little bit of tweaking. You see my 2 points don't quite come together, but just keep a hold of that in those pliers real good until it cools off. But you can do the tweaking on it that needs to be done while you're holding on to it. So I'll get out my handy dandy. Can you see what I'm doing here? Yeah. My handy dandy scrolling tongs. And just give that a twist. Now they're lined up that way. Now the gap that's in there, I'll just squeeze together with the vise. Like I said, keeping a hold of it. Not that I don't trust my solder joint, but I think it's a heck of a lot better on it if I don't trust it. Put that in that vise. There we go. Race truck. There's that set of scrolling tongs that I forged. I think they kind of look like a crow. When did I do those? 2016 is when I forged those out. Didn't seem like, you know, time flies like an arrow. Fruit flies like a banana. Well, I had a little bit of water in my quench tank over here. So that got cool. Now see, that's what it looks like. A heart made out of 2 number 6 horseshoe nails. Now we'll take it over to the drill press vise and clean it up a little bit. I'm not really too sure what this brush is called. You can find them at the big box store. I got this one at Lowe's or Menards or Ace Hardware. It's plastic bristles. Says max speed on it is 4,000 RPMs. I think my drill press, instead of thinking, I'll tell you, my drill press right now is set up to 650. Most of the time when I run this, I like to run it at 3,000. The nice thing about this over wire is it's not as hard on your hands if you get into it. There's the side we put the solder onto, and there's the side we didn't. That makes a nice little necklace. I know the granddaughters really liked them this year. Got a little ball of solder there on the bottom. I can file that off real simple. So there you go. Nice, quick, easy little project. Doesn't cost very much money, and the smiles you get back from the young ladies that you give them to are worth the cost. Take care.